Okay, so the next one will be paper 1, question 25. All right, it says PQRS is a rhombus, PYR is a straight line, find angle PQY. And in this question is a geometry questions, which means you need to be very good with your properties and rules of angles reasoning to solve the question. All right, so the clue is this is a rhombus. All right, and when you see that there's a rhombus, what comes to your mind? A rhombus is a special figure that when you cut it into two, it will actually give you two identical isosceles triangle. No matter you cut from across PR or you cut across QS, it will give you two isosceles triangle. Okay, so let's look at more clues in the question, and they give you that PYR is a straight line. So often in angles question, you cannot assume. You can only take the clues from the question. So you can only take it that the whole line PYR is a straight line, and therefore angle PYQ and angle QYR would complement each other and add up to 180. Okay, that's for angles on a straight line rule reasoning. Okay, yeah. So when you slice apart, you should see two triangles, PQR and PSR. All right, and also when you see a rhombus or a parallelogram, often you see parallel lines, and that's where you can use your next reasoning alternate angles rule. Okay, we can see, look for the letter Z, we often say that. So you can see angle QRP and angle RPS, they're actually identical. Okay, which is from your alternate angle rule. Because angle RPS is actually given, or angle SPR, sorry. Yeah, so they will know that they are actually equal. Okay, next, focus on the triangle QYR, the green triangle there. Okay, since you already know angle QRY is 21 degrees and angle RQY is 40 degrees. So sum of angles in a triangle will give you 180 minus 40 minus 21, and that will give you angle 119 degrees, which is your angle QYR over there. Yes, correct. Okay, next, since just we mentioned that it's a straight line, so the other angle will be adding up to 180, so we can use the rule and minus off. So 180 minus 119 will give us 61 degrees, and that will be your angle QYP. Okay, and knowing that just now we mentioned that it's actually isosceles triangle, so your angle QPR and your angle QRP will actually be the same. Okay, which is also 21 degrees. All right, and now we have found out two angles in a triangle. We can solve the question, which is looking for angle PQY. All right, so that will be taking 180 minus 61 degrees minus 21 degrees, and that should give us answer of 98 degrees. And it's often encouraged for students to actually underline your answer or write a bracket with the A and S. So it's to actually indicate where your answer is. So in your working steps, the teacher that is marking your paper does have to go search high and low for your answers. All right.
Okay, thank you, Teacher Graham. So let's take a look at the next one. Okay, so this is a quantity times value and a set approach question. So I'll say this is quite a common concept being tested. Usually they will actually combine these two together, quantity times value and set approach. Okay, so let's take a look at this question. Mrs. Lim took home 120 eggs. She paid 480 less with the special offer. What was the price of 10 eggs without the special offer? So let's identify the concept first. How do you know that this is a quantity times value question? Because there's the number of eggs, which is the quantity, the number of items. And of course, there's the value, which is the price, okay, 480 less, right? So whenever you see such questions, let's take a look at this picture here. Okay, special offer, okay? When you buy 10 eggs, you get 2 more for free. Okay, so it makes sense for Mrs. Lim to want to buy eggs from this bundle, right? So let's group them into one set because it's a set approach question, right? I always advise my students to write this set down, okay? Many of them will not write buy 10 plus 2 free. They will just write one set is equals to 12 eggs, okay? Not wrong, but why would I advise you to write buy 10 plus 2 free? Because sometimes the question will ask you, how many free eggs are there? or how many eggs did she buy? So that's where this sentence here will actually help you to not make mistakes. Okay, you will know that in one set, there will always be 10 that you buy and you have 2 free, which makes up 12 eggs. Okay? So now, since she bought 120 eggs, right? In one set, there are 12 eggs. So we're trying to find out how many sets of 12 are there in 120. So we will divide them and that will give us 10 sets. So again, I want my students to write the word sets down because imagine you are doing the math question in exam, right? Very tense, okay? Then you're trying to rush because there are so many questions. So students tend to not label their work. They will just write 10, then next step, and then this is quite a long question, right? Then when they try to look back, then they will be like, hey, what is this 10? Is this 10 the number of eggs? Or is this 10 $10? Or is this, okay, I'm just confused. I don't know what's the 10. Okay, so I think that's the reason why students make mistakes, not because they cannot solve the question, but rather they lose their train of thought halfway when solving the question. So writing such labels will help you to not make mistakes. Okay, so 10 sets. So now we know that one set, there's 2 free eggs, right, based on the question. And she paid $4.80 less with this special offer. And remember, she bought 10 sets of eggs. So this $4.80 is because there are free eggs. So let's find out how many free eggs are there. One set is 2, so 10 sets will be 20 free eggs. Okay? So now we can link the information already. This 20 free eggs is the reason why she paid $4.80 less. So hence, 20 free eggs cost $4.80. So now the question is asking, what was the price of the 10 eggs without the special offer? So basically the free eggs, right? So we just have to divide by 2. The 10 eggs will cost $2.40. Okay, so we wrote the ANS here. So it's good to write the ANS in the answer. Okay? So let's take a look at the next question.
Yes, students. So if you need to, thank you, Teacher Shalin. If you need to buy a lot of eggs, right? Yeah, so you can look up for promotional offer like this.
Wow. Yeah.
Okay, buy 10 eggs and get 2 free. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so next question. Paper 2, question 8. All right, this will be again on geometry. So you can see there's figure A, B, C, D, and C, F, G, E are identical parallelograms. Okay, and there's the first clue. They also tell you things like HCB and EDC are identical right-angled triangles. So the clue about right-angled triangles, as the name suggests, there must be a right angle in the triangle, and that will give you one of the clue, which is one of the angle already, which is 90 degrees. All right. And next, they're asking you to find angle W and find angle Y. All right. So if you look at this figure, all right. Okay. Again, when it's associated with parallelograms, okay, or rhombus, okay, we often can find alternate angles, corresponding angles, and interior angles in the question. All right. Yeah. So let's revise through what are some of these angles. Okay. Alternate angles will be your looking for letter Z. Okay, which is like a letter Z and then the 2 alternate angle. Like in the previous question, we see that. Okay. And for corresponding angle, will be looking for the letter F. So it's usually taking place when you see 2 parallel lines with a straight line cutting across. So you will see 2 angles, okay, that are similar. They have the same number or same value. And for interior angles, you often want to look for the letter C, letter N, letter U, and all these can be mirror image or inverted, all right, because these 2 angles would actually add up to 180. So first of all, when you see the question giving you the clue that CFGE, the one that involves angle W, okay, angle W, CFGE. So you can see this is actually a parallelogram, right? So you can identify the letter C, which is a mirror image letter C. Okay, you can see angle AT and angle W would actually add up to 180. Okay, so to find angle W is very easy. So just take 180 minus 80 degrees. That will give you 100 degrees, which is using your interior angles rule. Similarly, all right, next you can see there are other parallelograms, which is your ABCD as well, and also we want to find the other angle over there because that angle is next to angle Y. So that will give us a clue to help us to solve the question later on as well. Okay, so again we use the interior angle rule. 180 minus 80 will actually give us the angle FCE. Okay, that will be 100 degrees. All right. And similarly, in parallelogram ABCD, again, we use the same method. All right, interior angles, 180 minus 80 will give us 100 degrees for angle BCD. All right. Yeah, the one in red, correct. So I actually color coded for you so you can see it clearly. All right, now when you see this, you actually have 100 degrees there, 23 degrees there, 100 degrees, and you are missing out one more angle beside angle Y to solve for angle Y. All right, but they also give you another clue. You can see a right angle drawn over there. So in the right angle triangle, remember we mentioned that in a right angle triangle, there must be a 90 degrees. So using angles in a triangle adding up to 180 degrees, we can minus off the 90 degrees, minus off the 23 degrees. That can give us the angle BCH, all right, which is 67 degrees. And once we have found that out, we can use one other reasoning, which is angles at a point adds up to 360. So using that, we can find angle Y, and they'll be taking 360 minus 67 minus 100 minus 23 minus 100, and that will give us the value of 70 degrees. 70. Okay, yeah. So after that,
okay, wait, I add on a bit. Okay, so parents, you take a look at this question, right? As adults, right, solving this is very simple because we already know all the rules at the back of our heads. Like, I know this is a parallelogram, I know alternate angles, I know this and that. But for students, P5, they just learn this topic, right? It's a lot for them to remember. Why is this interior angle? Why is this alternate angle? There are so many different rules. So they have to remember, parallelogram means, like what Teacher Graham mentioned, alternate angle, corresponding angle, interior angle. Then rhombus is what? Opposite angles are the same and all this. So please be familiarized with all the angles properties. Then that will help you to solve the question very quickly and very easily, like what we just did. Okay, so by familiarizing it, not only you read and try to, memorize it or something, you have to do the math question, because only when you do, then you will apply it. Then you will know, parallelogram, okay, I have to look for this, and I have to look for that. Yeah, so you can see that Teacher Graham explained it very, very clearly, right? Because he knows his properties very well. Okay, so you have to go and practice more, and then I think y'all will be good with this. Okay?
Yeah, it will be good if you actually do a mind map and actually write down all the reasonings. All right, that will actually enhance the learning and help you to know the reasonings at your fingertips. All right, next one, they give this statement that BHF is or is not a straight line because the sum of angles BHC and CHF is or is not 180 degrees. So from the previous part, we already know that angle Y is 70 degrees. And when you can see that in the triangle HCF, okay, we have 25 degrees, we have 70 degrees. We can actually find the angle CHF to be 180 minus 70 minus 25, and that will actually give you 85 degrees. Then on the other side of the angle, all right, it's actually a right angle, and you know right angle will be 90 degrees. So when you add them up, okay, angle BHC and angle CHF would be 90 degrees plus 85 degrees, and that will only add up to 175 degrees. Okay, however, in the back of your mind, you should know a straight line has to always be 180 degrees, which is why it explains that BHF is not a straight line. Okay, because the total sum of angles is not 180 degrees, it's only 175 degrees. So you should circle it's not for both options. All right, to you, Teacher Shalin.
Okay, let's take a look at the next question. Okay, this one is paper 2 question, 3 marks. Okay, so I chose this because it's a remainder concept. And a few weeks ago, in class, right, the regular lessons, right, we actually did the remainder concept questions in our practice paper. I mean, like our common heuristics. So I recall sharing with the class that I can't remember which year, but there was 1 year for PSLE. Remainder concept came out twice, like in paper 1 and paper 2. So, which means that this is a very commonly tested PSLE kind of question. So you must know how to solve remainder concept questions. Okay, it can come out in paper 1, it can come out in paper 2. But yeah, just know how to solve this, alright? So first, let's identify the concept. How do you know that this is a remainder concept? Because you see the word remainder, right? Okay, so let's start first by always converting percentage to fractions first. Okay, so 75%, let's recap, is equals to 75 over 100. we simplify it, we get 3/4. Okay? And then there's another 40%. Again, we change it to 40 over 100, simplify to 5th. So let's start. I'll start by drawing a drop-down model. So what is a drop-down model? I always share with my students. It's like, I call this the Kueh Lapis model. Because Kueh Lapis has many layers, right? So for them to remember it easier, right? I will say, okay, draw your Kueh Lapis model. Then they're like, oh, okay, drop down. Need to drop down. Alright, so how it works is, let's start with the first statement. Peggy spent 3/4 of her money on a calculator. So 4 units, right? And 3 units is calculator. So again, we use read and write. Okay, we read sentence by sentence. As we read, we start to write it down. Okay, so 3/4 calculator. Now the next part, she spent 2/5 of the remainder on a book. So always remember, when you see the word remainder, please do not slice the remainder model here. Okay, I will drop this entire model down, and because she spent 2/5 on a book, the remainder model will have 5 units here. Okay, and 2 of it is on a book. After that, she was left with $6.90. Okay, so all the information is written down in the model already. So now, students, let's take a look at this remainder portion here. Okay, the one in yellow. So you will notice that, it's very strange. I drop it down, so technically it should be the same, right? Whatever that's in the first yellow part will be equal to the second one. However, for the first model, there's only 1 unit. And the second model, there's 5 of it. So how do we make them the same? Okay, so how do we make that 1 unit equals to that 5 units? So many students will tell me, okay, I know, teacher, find the lowest common multiple of 1 and 5, which is 5. So I will cut this, the original model here, into 5 units. Yes, you're right. Okay, so again, another tip. Instead of cutting it into 5 units, right? Imagine if I were to ask you to cut into 20 units instead. Then there's a very high chance of students cutting it wrongly, or they count wrongly after that. So what I'll do is I say, okay, just write 5 units inside. Don't have to do any cutting. Okay? So if this is 5, everything else will also be 5. So it's very fast. It prevents you from making mistakes, and you can count 5, 5, 5, 5. Total is 20 very quickly. Okay? So now let's take a look at this model. We know that 3 units here is actually equals to 690, the amount that's left, right? Then we can find the key to solve our mystery, which is 1 unit, which is $2.30. So let's read the math question again to solve the mystery. How much money did Peggy have at first? So that's where you have to go back to the original model. Original model, is it 4 units or 20 units? Okay, it's actually 20 units, not 4 units. Remember, we have already sliced it up into 5 each. Okay, so 5, 5, 5, 5, total is 20. So hence, the total amount of money that Peggy had at first is $46. Okay, so this kind of question, as long as you draw your drop-down model clearly, right, I think solving it should be quite alright. Okay, let's take a look at the next question. So I chose a percentage question again because fractions, ratio, percentage make up about 60% of your PSLE paper. So Teacher Graham will be going through the geometry part, and I'll be going through the FRP part. Okay, so let's take a look at the next one. This is a 5 marks question. Okay, let's take a look at part A first. So Colin had a collection of badges, postcards, and magnets. He had 85 badges. 30% of his collection was postcards. He had 51 fewer postcards than magnets. How many postcards did Colin have? Okay, so let's pause for a while. Some students will be like, hey, how come there's numbers and there's percentage here? So confusing, right? But actually, if you read this question, this is just a simple comparison model. They're just comparing badges, postcards, and magnets. So remember I said read and write, right? So we always read and write, and since they say there are 85 badges, I'll just write it down, draw a model first. Okay, 85 badges. Because as you draw, right, then you start to see what's happening. Okay, so don't leave your paper blank, just try to write something down. Okay, and the postcards is 30%. Okay, doesn't matter, you do not know 30% is more than 85 or lesser than 35, so just draw a model, is alright. Just make sure you label 30% in the postcards, okay? And then now the next sentence. For the magnets is 51 fewer postcards than the magnets. Okay, so I'll just add this in. Then you'll realize, oh, it's actually a comparison model. Okay, and you know that for percentage, right? 3 of them, badges, postcards, and magnets will always add up to 100%. Okay, so that's the total. So now, if you know that the total here is 100%, what should you do next? 30% plus 30% plus 85 plus 51 will give you 100%. So if that's the case, you can take 100% minus 30 is equals to 85 plus 51. Okay, so we do some addition here. 40% will be 136. Okay, and the question is asking for postcards. So we are trying to find for 30%. So what I did was I find out what 10% is by dividing it by 4. Then I went on to multiply by 3 to find the postcards, which is 30%. Okay? So the first 2 marks should be alright. If you draw a simple comparison model, you should be able to see this. Okay, just be careful when you are moving the sign across. It's 85 plus 51 here. Okay, so we have solved part A. We know that Colin has 102 postcards. Okay, so let's move on to the next part of the question. So Colin gave away some postcards and his total collection decreased by 20%. What percentage of his collection was postcards after that? So based on part A, we will always use part A answer to help us to solve part B. Okay, we know that the 30% that we have found in part A, the postcards, is actually 102 postcards. Alright, so let's find out what is the total collection at first, which is 100% first. So we know that the total number of collection at first is actually 340, and since they say his total collection decreased by 20%, let's find out what is the 80% now. Okay, so what do you notice here? I actually wrote labels. I like to write labels because, again, like I shared previously, right? If you don't write labels, there's a very high chance of the students losing their train of thoughts. Then they will get a little mess up and use the wrong number to multiply or divide. Okay, so just write short labels down. Okay, and then now to find the number of postcards that was actually given away, I'll just take the postcards at first minus the postcards in the end, which is 68. Alright, so now let's read the math question. What percentage of his collection was postcards? So how do you find percentage of postcards? Okay, let's find the number of postcards left. Okay, we will take 102, the amount of postcards at first, minus away 68, which is the number of postcards that was given away. So you're left with 34. And when you're finding for percentage that are postcards, I need to write the postcards left over the total collection times 100% because you're finding percentage, right? So just use the correct numbers. Okay, I have labels here. So you know that it will be 34 that's left over the total of 272. Then you multiply by 100%. Okay, and that will give you 12.5%. So the next question, part B, is actually pretty long. Okay, that's why it's 3 marks. But if you actually have your labels down, you know what the numbers represent, and you know how to find percentage of postcards, you should be alright. Okay. Okay, so now let's move on to the next part. Okay, we are done with the teaching part already. Okay, so now these are all the math heuristics. Okay, you'll see a lot of heuristics here. Okay, here if you take a look, just now that the one that I mentioned, right, the remainder concept. Okay, there's a lot here, and then there's more. Okay, okay, you can take a look. Okay, so what I'd like to share is that at Blue Tree, right, we always start off by sharing with the students, hey, what is this concept? Just now, Teacher Graham mentioned it's a geometry question he identified, right? And then I said remainder concept. So because there are so many different concepts, right? Honestly, for a student, I think for you to master your math, right, you need to first identify what concept is this. Then you will know which method to use. If not, later, imagine a assumption question, then you go and draw your drop-down model. Then, wrong method, right? Okay, so it's very important to identify the concept first. Okay, and at Blue Tree, we always share with the students how to identify the concept. What are the keywords you have to look out for? Okay, so yeah. The next one will be the AL system. I think many of you are very familiar with this. Okay, so I'll just zoom in straight into AL6. Okay, so maybe you all want to like share with me why AL6 so special? What's so special about AL6? Yeah, so if you take a look at AL6, you realize that the marks range is the widest. Okay, 45 to 64. So basically, what I want to share is that when you have all your results out, right, don't just look at the AL, but look at the marks itself. Okay, are you scoring 45 for your math or your any other subjects? May not be math. Okay, or are you scoring maybe a 63? So you will know how much effort to put in. Parents, a 5 marks jump is also a huge improvement already. So if your child scored 45 and then end of year your child scored 50, please how do I say, please tell them they have done a very good job. Yeah, because a 5 marks jump is a huge improvement. Just that, because of the AL system, then we have to go back and see whether, let's relook into our goals, what should we aim for PSLE. So that's why look at the AL, the mark range instead of just the points itself. Okay.
Yeah, sometimes a 5 mark jump can actually increase in the grade, so that actually makes a lot of difference.
Yeah, correct. Okay, so now I'll be sharing about this. So every holidays, right, we will be having our holiday program. Okay, so we are having this is the first picture is for English, Math and Science. Okay, and then the next one is for Chinese. Okay, so we have all the subjects. So basically for Math, we will have 2 modules, Module 1 and Module 2. So again, I shared about the heuristics earlier, right? You saw the long list of heuristics, right? So for Math, we will be going through 2 modules. We can't cover everything in one, hence we have 2. Okay, so for the MAP for Math, we will be focusing on just the problem sums, which is the heuristics. So we will be drilling your child on the heuristics. So it will be an intensive session, but I think it's a very beneficial session. So I always share with my students, after the lesson, please go and have a break. I know it's tiring, okay, but your holidays is quite long, right? So just pick a day, try the questions again. Okay, so I think there's an early bird discount if you sign up by 25th February, okay, $10.90 off per module. And there's also a bundle discount, 10% discount if you book 3 or more modules. So just go on into our website, or you can go into our social media and then just chat with the admin.
Yeah, good thing about this is if let's say you are unfamiliar with a particular topic, you can actually pick that topic to revise on, or that maybe you are a P6 child, but then you are not good with a P5 topic like fractional remainder concept, and you want to attend that particular revision math module, so you can actually pick that one out.
Yes, correct, right. That's a good point. Okay, so these are our promotions. So to find out more about our promotion, you can always follow us on our Facebook page, Instagram, okay? So we also have our Facebook discussion group. There's a math, there's a science one. Just post questions in there. You have a lot of questions that you're unsure, right? You can post it there, and then our team of experts will help to reply. Okay, so I think it's a very good discussion group. Okay, so I hope you have learned something today and have found this lesson very beneficial.
Thank you, students.
Thank you, everybody.
And everyone.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.